Before I begin my remarks on the Land and Water Conservation Fund, I would like to associate myself with the remarks of my colleague, Senator Murphy, regarding our responsibility to deal with the issue of gun violence in our country. Today, Mr. President, I'd like to turn to another subject. I want to talk about the Land and Water Conservation Fund, or the LWCF as it is commonly known. Last week, at the end of the fiscal year, the LWCF's authorization expired. The LWCF is one of the federal government's best tools for supporting conservation, and we need to act quickly to renew the law. As cities grow, suburbs swell, and our natural world shrinks, the need for more opportunities for outdoor recreation and education grows. The LWCF helps expand those opportunities for our veterans, our children, and our families. For example, we've heard from veterans who share the therapeutic value of our public lands. When Matthew Zedwick served in Iraq, he was comforted by memories of hiking and fishing on public lands in his Oregon hometown. And since coming home to Oregon, he has found that visiting many of the trails, lakes, and streams that are protected by the LWCF help him heal. Also this year, for the first time, our nation's fourth graders have free access to all of our national parks. Why fourth graders? Because fourth graders are able to understand their surrounding environments in more concrete ways. And these first experiences, through these kinds of experiences in our national parks, these fourth graders will, we hope, grow into having a lifelong appreciation of our environment. And finally, millions of families looking for a weekend getaway flock to our parks, refuges, and wildlife preserves, areas that are afforded protection thanks to the LWCF. Despite being chronically underfunded, over the past 50 years, the LWCF protected and conserved land in every single state. Rather than relying on taxpayers, money for the fund comes from oil and gas development on the outer continental shelf. Unfortunately, without renewing the LWCF, conservation efforts across the country are at risk, including in Hawaii. Hawaii's environment is unique. I'm sure my colleagues are aware of our beautiful beaches, lush greenery, and spectacular geography. For all its beauty, Hawaii's environment is also fragile. 1/3 of our native forest birds are endangered, and we are home to almost half of the nation's threatened and endangered plants, making us, in Hawaii, the endangered species capital of the world. Our coasts and beaches are being threatened as we speak by sea level rise. Our corals are expected to suffer the worst bleaching event in history this year. This coming on the heels of a major bleaching event that happened just last year. All of these phenomena impact our economy and way of life. We know what's at stake if we do not act today to protect our lands for tomorrow. That's why my state put together a collaborative landscape proposal to receive LWCF money. And this proposal is entitled Island Forests at Risk. An appropriate title, as we are seeing firsthand how the future of our forests is indeed at risk. The Obama administration recognized the importance of this proposal to conserving Hawaii's unique ecosystems. Thanks to this recognition, a number of the island's forest at-risk land acquisitions are in line to receive LWCF funding in the next fiscal year. Under the plan, almost 5,000 acres will be added to Hawaii's Volcano National Parks, Hawaii's most popular national park that in 2014 alone attracted almost 1.7 million visitors. Funds will also help add almost 7,000 acres to Hakalau National Wildlife Refuge, a land acquisition that has been the top priority for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Pacific region since 2011. These critical land acquisitions have a price tag of almost $15 million. And these acquisitions will only be made possible by the financial assistance provided by the LWCF. And Hawaii is not the only state that is set to receive money from the Land and Water Conservation Fund next year. Over the past few days, my colleagues from across the aisle have come to the floor to talk about the importance of the LWCF in their own states. They've talked about the lands in their states and the experiences they've had in the outdoors with their families. We all recognize the opportunities that LWCF investments provide for our people, our economies, and future generations. We know that oil and gas drilling is accelerating climate change. We know that climate change is threatening our native birds, our coasts, our coral. Why not reauthorize a fund that takes money from activities that threaten our climate and environment and invest it into conservation efforts? It seems like a no-brainer to me. Earlier this year, I joined Ranking Member Cantwell and my fellow Democratic colleagues on the Energy and Natural Resources Committee in introducing legislation that would permanently reauthorize LWCF, permanently so that it will not end up ending. So I urge my colleagues to join us in finding a bipartisan path forward to permanently reauthorize the Common Sense Fund that protects the environment and affords outdoor recreation and education opportunities in every single state. We owe it to the people who elected us, and we owe it to our children and our future generations. I yield back, Mr. President.